So when you need justice brought to the rugged outer space frontier, there's only one man to turn to, as Sean Connery stars in this Peter Hyams sci-fi film of Outland. On the Jupiter moon of Io, the Connery mining facility has seen productivity spike, with big bonuses being paid, but many of the miners are experiencing a form of psychosis, resulting in volatile, violent, and suicidal actions. With new Federal Marshal William O'Neill starting his tour, he begins to suspect that the people entrusted to maintain the safety are complicit in these unusual occurrences. With his wife abruptly leaving with her son to return to Earth, O'Neill is left with his sense of justice to try shaking loose the corruption at this facility. He soon finds an ally in Dr. Lazarus, who reveals that no autopsies were done on any of the workers that died under these circumstances. Yet once she analyzes the blood O'Neill retrieved from a deceased worker, she discovers a new narcotic that enhances physical endurance and ability, but eventually burns the user out, leading to neurological damage. O'Neill and General Manager Shepard come at odds, as the Marshal intends to expose this criminal enterprise, despite the apathy of the lawlessness that has spread throughout the facility. Now O'Neill awaits the mercenaries that have been sent to take him out, and he is more than ready to take the fight directly to them. So Outland arrived in U.S. cinemas on May 22nd of 1981, and produced on a budget about roughly $18 million through the Ladd Company, which was set up by Alan Ladd Jr. through Warner Brothers, after he left his position as president of 20th Century Fox, where he championed films like Star Wars and Ridley Scott's Alien, and shortly after this would be involved with the production of Blade Runner. But unfortunately, Outland really wasn't that much of a success because at the US box office only grossed about $20 million off that $18 million budget, and with no international numbers available, really didn't garner much of a profit after you factor in the marketing costs and the split you have to get back to the theater chains, all that type of stuff. It just didn't get much of a traction going, and the reviews at the time weren't all that glowing in a certain way. It had a lot of middling opinions and not the best sort of reaction overall, so it didn't get much traction at the time. It kind of fell under the radar a little bit and didn't get a lot of respect for things, but really didn't seem to affect the career of writer-director Peter Hyams, because he had just done the film Capricorn 1. Then after this, he would direct the sequel to 2001: A Space Odyssey called 2010, the year we made contact, and then he would do the Billy Crystal, Gregory Hines film, Running Scared, and ended up doing films with Jean-Claude Van Damme in terms of Time Cop, Sudden Death. He would do stuff like The Relic and End of Days. And so he just kind of maintained this real regular course of being a steady quality filmmaker over the next 20 years or so, even though there's a lot of stuff in there that really didn't hit the box office very strongly, stuff like that, but he had some really good, fantastic films in there. I think they're really worthwhile. It was kind of an interesting thing going into this film, how he's developing this whole thing, because he really wanted to do a Western film. But it was kind of thing at the time where Westerns really just kind of lost their traction and started. They weren't the big money makers, the kind of tentpole films that Hollywood kind of staked their claims on over the last couple of decades. They really kind of were phasing out a little bit, and the science fiction stuff was really kind of going up into the stratosphere with stuff like Star Wars and Close Encounters and Alien, all these different things. We were kind of building that up as the next big money-making genre. So, on advice of producers and other collaborators and whatnot, he decided to fashion this into a much more of a science fiction setting, while still maintaining a certain sense of a certain Western type of thing, where a new lawman comes into town and whatnot and has to deal with the corruption, all the different things, kind of deal with the people who are a little bit of outlaws, and here and there and everything, kind of clean things up. Whether or not the actual town will kind of back him in a certain way, he kind of stands up as his lone figure against this entire town of corrupt crooks and all that type of stuff. So it has that sensibility about it. I think really comes through in a very nice way to create a story that is very well told and very compelling in such a different type of way, with such a fantastic sort of sensibility about the entire feeling of the whole film, going on from certain stuff like Star Wars and Alien, which had very sort of industrial, lived-in type of futuristic style worlds. They're still somewhat relatable. You can get a tangible sense about everything. The feeling of everything feels very much like it has a history to it. He really applied that so much here with the production design that he commissioned in the whole film to make sure that the thing had a sensibility. I felt like there was a grit to it. There was a certain sensibility that is like on this moon of Jupiter and everything. You've got all these people working these grim, gritty type of jobs that like no one really wants, but it pays so much good money that people are willing to endure these terrible sort of situations. This entire thing where people are crammed in this place like sardines in these little sort of compartments or whatnot, that we just don't have much of a living space. There's not anything but a bleak environment to kind of be enveloped with. Is the entire station they're all on. So it's like it has that sensibility. It's very oppressive in a certain way. It's oppressive towards the sense of humanity that you could have. It's just like it's so very utilitarian how everything is constructed and designed. It's like it's just here to be functional. And you can really just get the sense of just like how this culture could really permeate in this environment. All the kind of vices kind of creep into the daily lives of everyone. It's like they need some kind of relief from, again, the oppressive nature of the environment they're stuck in. So they got all the stuff that gets up with the corruption and getting people jacked up on this new drug and everything like that, so they can work these long hours and be 3 times more productive, but then it just kind of burns them completely out and makes them psychotic at the end of the thing. So it's like everyone's just trying to cope and deal, and it gets so deep down to the darkness by the time Sean Connery's character of William O'Neill shows up in this whole thing. It's so much of a great, very well constructed sort of environment to tell this story, and you got all these different sort of machinations that kind of work in this visual and tangible type of environment so much. I think it looks exceptionally well, especially with the cinematography, which is a very interesting type of thing, because the director of photography who gets credit for the film is Steven Goldblatt, but Peter Hyams, as we know from later on in his career, is a director who actually does the cinematography for his own films. And he is the guy who actually shot this whole film, while you hire on Steven Goldblatt, this fairly new cinematographer, to basically be a scapegoat for the new Introvision special effects process they were using on the film, which wasn't really tried and tested yet. So if anything goes wrong with this thing, I'm going to blame this other guy who doesn't have a lot of experience, and I'm just going to have him sit on the corner and basically do nothing the whole film. So clearly Goldblatt's not happy about that, but the fact of the matter is he's so new into the field, he can't just walk off the set and get a bad reputation about things, and so he's kind of stuck in a rock and a hard place there, and doesn't shine very well on Peter Hyams to have done that sort of thing. It's very duplicitous and very unethical and very unprofessional as well. But Goldblatt is a guy who thankfully did go on to a very nice career, shooting the first 2 Lethal Weapon films, both the Joel Schumacher Batman films, including an Oscar nomination for Batman Forever, doing fantastic work with Tony Scott's The Hunger, a film that's just like visually out of the fucking park. It's just like a brilliant sort of cinematographer's reel type of film there. Nailed it so well there, and had a nice steady career doing thrillers and dramas and a couple action things here and there. Really solid type of stuff. But the fact of the matter is, Peter Hyams is the cinematographer who actually shot this film, and like living hell, the film looks absolutely fantastically like a Peter Hyams movie. He's got that wonderful high contrast smoky haze look to the whole film that just looks so goddamn good. And again, it evokes a little bit of stuff like Alien in certain places, but he just has a certain style that's all his own. It feels like one of his films. If you're familiar with his stuff, it just has that sensibility overall. It's like, I love how he knows how to use a wide cinemascope frame. He knows how to block things out to make them interesting and have a certain feeling evoked from certain visuals that you get into the whole film, whether you're dealing with stuff that's a little more suspicious or a little bit more thrilling in a certain way or stuff like that. Just like emotional moments in this film are definitely filled up with very good camera movements and very good shots overall. Just like, I love how he uses that light and shadow in the entire thing, just like he uses it so extremely well to give the entire mood of the entire film. I love the fucking nightclub they got going on, the bar they have going on, this whole thing where it's almost like a prototypical sort of Blade Runner-esque type of thing. Just like you could see like just take this the next step forward, and you've got Blade Runner and that type of thing with the sort of blue laser lights coming down and the real heavy blacks and everything, just like it has that sensibility about it. Just like I love how he uses darkness in the film. He's just such a master of doing that type of stuff. It just looks absolutely fantastic. They just have this bleakness kind of envelop the entire world, and just have this sense of danger from how he photographs things, how he lights it, how he moves the camera and frames everything up. It looks so exquisitely well. And even when he gets into the more action-oriented beats of the whole thing, the camera moves. It kind of charges forward in these different chase sequences and stuff like that. It's like he just knows how to fucking shoot a goddamn movie. It looks absolutely phenomenal stuff. Everything he does looks fantastic. It's got a sharpness about how he wants to kind of cut everything together and all these different things. Had a phenomenal editor on this thing, Stuart Baird. Again, a guy who'd worked with Richard Donner and a lot of other fantastic people. One of the best editors in the goddamn business, and he got to work with Peter Hyams on this whole thing, and just like all these different things kind of landed in a really good spot to make this film look so goddamn good. But one thing that exquisitely falls into place so extremely well is the casting of Sean Connery here as William O'Neill. This new marshal gets put in this whole situation, just like he's phenomenal in this whole film. He's just absolutely fantastic seeing this really goddamn good character. You just got this interesting dynamic with the character that he's got a little bit of a shadiness in his background in certain ways. Like it's alluded to that he kind of has a big mouth, that he maybe insubordinate, kind of shakes up the entire status quo of certain places, and so they kind of dump him off in this kind of shit, kind of incitement and stuff like that. So it's an interesting type of thing. He's kind of got himself into trouble by doing the right thing. And so it's one of those type of interesting ideas that he's such a just man and such a good family man. All these different things. He loves his wife, loves his son, and all these different things. And trying to kind of coax his wife into just like it's going to be better as we go along. We've only been here a couple weeks. It's going to get better. But the whole thing where just like she can't take it. She can't be out here. All this type of stuff. Their son has never seen Earth. And it's like she just absconds after he leaves in the morning for the shift and everything like that. So you see the vulnerability of the character as you get these scenes and whatnot, when he kind of grapples with that whole thing of the wife leaving with the son and all these different things. It's like he's so amazingly simplistic in how he's so expressive in this whole film. Just these little moments you get when he's sitting there watching the message from the wife and everything like that. You can feel for the character. You can relate. You can feel the empathy for the character, all these different things. And he's such an immediately interesting type of actor. It's like he captivates your attention so much when he starts rolling into this entire investigation. Kind of just intensifies the entire process of what he's going through and trying to pinpoint what's going on and what's happening with who. It's just so drawn into exactly what he's doing on screen. He's an amazing actor. He's fantastic in this movie. It's one of his best performances that I've ever seen. And the guy's got no shortage of amazing performances. I just like so much of everything he has to do in this whole film. Again, dealing with the vulnerability and the emotion and stuff like that. When you got James Sikking's character of Montone coming in there after the wife has left, and he's just kind of bringing him a little something to eat for dinner and everything like that. Just had these nice, relatable moments about Sikking's character of Montone. His wife left him after his second tour and went off and absconded with this computer programmer. It's such sad stories with some of these characters. You can kind of see with that type of stuff just how everything kind of builds up in the culture of this whole thing. It's very organic in how you understand how everything kind of weaves together, and you can kind of see all these different things about how these guys get driven in the ground in certain ways. And definitely O'Neill feels that in a certain way, just like he sacrificed something to kind of stick with this job and stick with this assignment, stuff like that, and stick with his principles. He loses something a little bit along the way there, but you got this thing at the end of the film where they do kind of reconnect with him and the wife and the son and stuff like that. So there is a reconnection back to that. You might kind of say like it might resonate a little stronger if he really kind of broke that off completely. He kind of lost that completely, so he kind of just had to sacrifice everything to kind of be the man that he is. So you can kind of see back and forth how he could kind of deal with that, but it's kind of also kind of nice to have a little bit of a more rewarding ending for the character at the end of the film there. But Connery's on a fucking level here that you just can't touch. He's absolutely fantastic. He makes so much of every little moment he has in this whole film, just dealing with everything. I just like so much that you get such an amazing thing where he's such a rock solid, righteous type of guy, but you can see the self-doubt in certain ways. Like, do I really deserve to be here after all this type of stuff? Where is my place in this entire system that really just kind of functions because people are willing to kind of overlook the morality of certain things, the ethical stuff in the entire world and everything like that. So it's like this corrupt system that he's kind of jammed into that he really doesn't fit into, but they kind of bat him around to kind of stick him in this shithole assignment. So like he's kind of grappling with like whether I deserve this or whatnot. So it's like, are they right? Am I wrong? Stuff like that. So it's like there's that to grapple with. It makes such an amazing sort of impact on the audience to kind of get that into the core qualities of the entire damn movie here. So it's like, I love everything Connery does in the whole film. From the action stuff, he's just absolutely fucking adept at, and all the acting stuff he has to twist in with the emotion and the different kind of charisma he's got to get on in certain places, the kind of humor and levity he kind of injects in certain places. Like, I love everything he has with the chemistry with everyone on screen in this whole film. He's fantastic with everyone, and they're fantastic with him as well. It's like such a goddamn fucking get with this whole film. Just like, it just made this film just get a real sort of stamp of credibility overall, just with his involvement, kind of being involved, and kind of also having a little bit of thing with like not knowing if Peter Hyams was up to the task of things when they were starting production, but after he kind of watched the dailies after the first day, I kind of insisted on it. It's like, no, I'm not going to wait to the end of the day to watch them. I want to watch them now. So he called up, Peter Hyams called up Stuart Bears, like, Sean Connery's coming over to watch the dailies. Get something ready for him. Just like, he didn't express anything directly, but there were just little things that I guess Connery kind of did over the course of that next day that kind of sealed the approval for Peter Hyams. It gave him that little bit of a confidence, like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. Let's keep moving forward. So it's such a wonderful thing to see the professionalism of Sean Connery to kind of maintain that sort of standard of excellence that he has throughout his entire career, and that definitely shows so much to see what he's capable of when he's working collaboratively with the right people. Wonderful stuff. And I really just love Francis Sternhagen. This whole thing is Dr. Lazarus, which is kind of a name that's kind of oddly on the nose in a certain way. Just evokes certain things, but regardless of that, man, she's fucking great in this whole thing. And Peter Hyams actually originally wrote the role for a male, but after he kind of finished writing everything, kind of like, I want to make this a woman, just off the itch that he had, something, just a sensibility he had. I just want to make it a woman. And I guess it was his wife or his sister or something like that, kind of, Sternhagen, this is the person you get for this role. You're going to get this person. They're the perfect person for it. And it's like, fuck yes. She's amazing this whole film. Just like, I like the attitude that she has in this whole thing. She just has this very direct, sort of snarky way of dealing with things. I love when she meets with O'Neill. They've got this back and forth going. It's like there's immediate chemistry and charisma between the two of them. Like, Connery and Sternhagen are just off the charts fucking great in these scenes. I love all the stuff they do. They just kind of banter back and forth, these little kind of jabs or whatnot, these little humorous beats or whatnot. Just like, it's so exquisitely well written. But these two performers are just hitting it off on the top of the charts in this whole thing, sparking back and forth, had these great sort of dialogues between the two of them that are so rich with character, and they embody the character so extremely well. Just like, I love what Frances Sternhagen does here. She's just absolutely right on the top of just this biting sort of cynicism that she has in the whole thing. Just like, bad shit's been happening around here for too long that wasn't happening earlier, where she says, like, before all this stuff happened, we only had like 2 deaths here within like a 6 or 12 month span. Now we've had like 24 of them. So like, she's willing to be involved with what he's doing, his investigation, weeding out the shit that's not supposed to be here, all these crooked elements. She's willing to be involved in that sort of expose of all this type of stuff. Also kind of throw in with him when the kind of mercenaries come in, they hunt him down. So it's like, it's a really fantastic character, wonderfully portrayed, amazing performances. Absolutely fucking love it. Top-notch type of stuff from her. James Sikking, as I alluded to earlier, I love him. He's wonderful. Just like, he's immediately
you immediately kind of click in with this character. You just got a sensibility that he has that relatable quality in a certain way. He feels very human. He feels very kind of open in a certain way to a certain extent. It just feels like you can see in his performance, he's kind of deflated in this entire situation. He's just kind of like, this guy's had the shit kicked out of him with this entire job too. So you can see that, but just the things you start seeing as the film goes along, when you got that wonderful scene where you got O'Neill, he's trying to talk down the character portrayed by Stephen Berkhoff, who would later go on to Beverly Hills Cop. This guy is just whacked out of his mind. He's going psychotic. He's got this knife up against his hook and everything like that. And they send Montone in there through the shaft. And you got this wonderful thing where O'Neill's kind of trying to talk him down. This nice, calm voice. And he's got this very specific way of how he wants to handle the situation. Doesn't want to gun anyone down. Doesn't want to hurt anyone. He wants to just diffuse the situation. And right at that right moment, Montone drops in and just shoots the guy with a shotgun. And just, I like the moments where he's a little suspicious of it. Like, that doesn't seem, what he did does not seem right. Didn't seem like the right action. It seems a little suspicious. He starts looking at him a little bit different way. And he starts finding out that he's much more wrapped up with the character of Shepard here, portrayed by Peter Boyle. The guy who's at the head of this entire crooked scheme and everything like that, with the drugs and all these different bodies that keep getting shipped off, and you don't get to find out what's going on with them. Stuff like that. So it's like, just how he gets twisted up, and like he feels like the character of O'Neill, if he just got really grinded down to the base bare bones of everything like that and had nothing left to lose. He just doesn't have the conviction to be able to do anything about it. So it's like, I love Sikking as an actor. He's phenomenal. He does a fantastic job with this entire character. Just like the intricacies of the character, stuff like that. Again, he feels relatable, and you want to kind of root for the character a little bit when you find out he's kind of passively complicit in this entire scheme and everything like that. It's like, he won't actively terribly do anything, but he kind of turns the other way when things have to be done and stuff like that. Then all these different things, like, it's just a wonderful type of thing. You just got the kind of knife gets twisted when you find out he kind of takes his own life after he kills off the guy they caught earlier and stuff like that. So it's like, all these things keep building up, and wonderful characters kind of jab into the story in different places and make different kind of plot turns and different kind of emotional kind of hits and whatnot in the entire film. It's like, I like so much. You got these interesting type of characters, such wonderfully talented actors in these roles to get these emotions kind of pulled out, where there were probably a few people, I think there were a couple of reviewers who thought the film didn't have so much emotional resonance, stuff like that, but I think there's a lot of good characters in this whole thing that really kind of touch on really good things, really kind of evoked a little bit of something there. And just, again, talking Peter Boyle, he's one of these phenomenal actors who sadly passed away several years ago, but the guy's just fucking on all the time, man. He's wonderful, dramatic and comedy actor. The guy's wonderful. I like the sort of casual nature of the character of Shepard here. Just like how he plays the character is like, just the subtle things. When he's got that orientation meeting and whatnot with O'Neill and the entire other staff, there's like, I like these guys work very hard, and I kind of let them play hard. It's like, he's just kind of like, just stay a little bit out of the way, and things will run smoothly. He's kind of trying to tell O'Neill, it's like, things run a certain way around here, and just go with the flow type of stuff. It's just like, you can just see, you see the qualities of the character come out very subtly, but it's like, you can really pick up on it really easily, and it doesn't have to be intimidating. It doesn't have to lean into the whole thing. As you get these scenes between him and Connery, they're just kind of playing a little bit here and there or whatnot. It's like, it's really goddamn good stuff. It's like, they're really crisp and stuff like that. It's like the acting, the writing, directing, stuff like that. It all just kind of zeroes in on exactly the right moments where you really have to nail these character interactions and get these story plot points kind of nailed off in the right direction. So it's like, the entire cast is flat out good, except for the kid portraying O'Neill's son. It's not terribly good. When you got this little scene where he's being very emotional, you can see it in his eyes, expressiveness, stuff like that. He just talked to the wife who just got to the space station after leaving Io. Their exchange is really good, but once you get the kid, he's just not very talented. He just doesn't have the sensibilities you need to really kind of get both halves of the scene working very well. Like Connery, top notch. The kid, just doesn't have it. The line deliveries are not very good. But aside from that, everything else in the film works on such a great level. Again, the little thing with Stephen Berkhoff going off the deep end. He's a wonderful, wonderful goddamn actor. Really just leans into it, just like everyone just hits it on the right levels in that regard. So I love the cast of this whole thing. They really nailed some great characters that weave the story around in very interesting regards. And beyond just the production design aspect to kind of elicit something back to Alien, you actually have Jerry Goldsmith doing the score for this film, where it was kind of thing with him where he didn't quite resonate very much with the entire film, that he didn't feel like the emotion that was kind of on the page translated into the film itself, where I really very much disagree with that. I definitely feel Connery and Sikking really kind of bring a lot of emotion out in the entire film. But it was kind of a thing where he made it a little harder for him to kind of connect with the film and really kind of elicit a lot of things out from the emotion of the film, but still did a fantastic job of this whole thing. That even if the kind of opening title sequence does kind of evoke the exact same feeling from Alien, it's like almost the exact same sound, the rest of the film has its own identity. The entire rest of the film goes off, doesn't recycle a goddamn thing from what he's done before, which is a wonderful thing I really credit from Goldsmith. He never really recycled cues from one film to the next. He maintained trying to find an identity for each different score, and he definitely found that with Outland here, that I like so much. The entire film has this sort of dramatic, bombastic sensibility about when you get into a little bit more thrilling or terrifying sequences where you get people in peril and danger, stuff like that. Things kind of amp up, get a little bit more high tension. The thing kind of amps up itself. And just having all these wonderful things where it kind of builds character and gets all these little good things with the suspense and get things a little bit on edge in certain places. Just like it really works so well in so many places. And this life that it brings into the entire film with everything that he creates in the style and the texture of his score really brings the entire film to another different level and brings so much more to it that you could get really kind of oppressed down with the bleak visuals, stuff like that. But when you got a good score that really kind of bring a little bit more into the entire thing, it creates a different dynamic overall and just brings so much more stuff into the film to kind of amplify the entire thing. So it's like, does a really good job. You can still get this score from Film Score Monthly. It's still out there with a lot more complete tracks and all these wonderful type of things that if you're definitely needing to complete some spots in your Goldsmith collection, definitely grab this one, check it out, because I think it's a really good piece of work. It really just brings a whole lot more into the film that I think Goldsmith probably gave the film credit for. But again, getting into the sort of introvision special effects in this whole film, that was a nice little cost-cutting special effects process they used for about the next 12 years or so on films like Rambo 3, Dark Man, Army of Darkness, and The Fugitive. Instead of doing photochemical blue screen composite shots, you do everything in camera. You'd have like miniatures in the foreground, live action in the midground, maybe like a matte painting or something like that in the background, and shoot all at the same time. So you'd line everything up properly and get this almost forced perspective type of thing with the right way you do it, the right lenses, all that type of stuff. It would save a whole ton of money. It would save millions of dollars on some of these films to do it this way instead of the much more expensive sort of process you had going on at the time. So it was a really nice alternative to kind of use in this era and all that type of stuff. And the effects are good, but they're not spectacular. I'm sure at the time they looked very, very, very good. But looking back on it, it's like, knowing that there's a lot of these shots that could look more dynamic, they could look more interesting, they could have more things going on in certain places instead of like all these static shots where they can't really move the camera in too many ways to get everything out of alignment. When you start moving things around, it would start falling off the perspective of all these different things. So there's a lot of static shots and a lot of these different things where they're using the introvision process to get the live action actors into the shot and moved into the matte paintings and all these different things. So there's a limitation, there's a restriction on what they can do and how it can affect the entire dynamics of how the film moves and kind of photographs everything, kind of makes more dynamic type of things where you could see a lot more dynamic stuff in the bigger budget type of things where you had stuff like Star Wars and Superman the movie, even Star Trek the motion picture. Could get a lot more things going on with the much more expensive processes. But obviously this film was trying to make that new process work on all these different things, and obviously that's kind of why Peter Hyams kind of hired the scapegoat cinematographers. Like, if this thing doesn't quite work, and it looks kind of shit. Well, this is going to be the fault of the guy I hired just to stand in the corner and take credit for anything I fuck up. But the thing did work out. It does look good. It does look good for the most part, but as you go on into a much more HD Blu-ray remastered era, it doesn't quite hold up as beautifully as it possibly could have. I'm sure it looked really fantastic on other formats before this, but the more detail you get in the shot, the more you can kind of see where, yeah, the discoloration from this part of the thing doesn't really match with this other part of the entire frame and stuff like that. It's like it starts showing its flaws here and there as you get into much more 1080p, high definition type of presentation, stuff like that. So you can see the definite sort of quality that you get based on the amount of money you put into the special effects and the resources you had to pull on. So there's great vision involved with so many different sequences. It's good. It's just not awesome. So it's that type of thing with the effects, like they hold up to a certain extent, but they don't blow you away. But kind of an interesting thing how this film kind of is a little hard to get into a little bit in this regard, where the pacing is involved. It's a little bit of a grind getting into it. It's like, I don't think the film probably needs to be quite as long as it is. It's about an hour and 50 minutes. I think you could really compress the film down to a certain extent and get a little bit more tighter sort of story progression, where I don't think there's quite enough substance in the film to kind of generally justify the length that the film is, because like I said, it takes a little bit of a grind getting into the film. I think Connery is the thing that snags my interest into the film. Once he gets into the film and you're getting involved with his characters, you're getting involved in the characters in general, those are the aspects that pull you through the film. It's like, it's kind of a little bit monotonous, but it's kind of one of those things like, I do appreciate a slow burn. Like Alien is a phenomenal slow burn film. This film kind of like, it just doesn't quite have as much juice going through it. They kind of make the most use of the time that it has moving forward. So it's like one of those things, like it could be tighter in certain places, kind of move the story a little bit better. It just takes a little too much time to do things that doesn't need quite as much time to do. But still, there is certain things about the film that are very good. I think just like the performances are really phenomenal. I think the acting in this film is just top-notch type of stuff from everyone that's a fucking name in this whole film. It works so well with just how the damn actors bring the film together so much. Like, even if the pacing just feels like it's a little drawn out here and there and stuff like that, it still has some beats that really punch up and really kind of nail some really good things. Just like, again, I like how things pay off with the O'Neill character as he goes along. I love this whole goddamn scene where O'Neill's waiting for the goddamn mercenaries or whatnot to come up on the station and hunt him down, and he's kind of sitting there, the clock's ticking down, the whole shuttle arrives, and he goes back into that meeting room where everyone's kind of in the mess hall or whatnot, and he's just like, I could use a little bit of help. And he's just like, yeah, I thought so. No one's going to stand up for anything. And it's like, oh, well, this is your problem. You're the law around here. You're supposed to protect us. We're your men. My men are shit. That's a wonderful line. That's a wonderful line that just encapsulates the entire attitude, the entire predicament of the situation. Like, there's even the guys who are tasked for maintaining law and order in this whole thing just are not going to help out. They're just all complicit. No one is willing to do anything. No one's willing to stand up, aside from Lazarus, the fucking doctor. No one's willing to stand up and risk their necks for anything. It's like, we're just going to sit here and let everything just keep flowing through the entire place. We're not going to stand up for anyone. We're not going to do anything. Everything's just in a pile of shit. And it's like, O'Neill's the one guy. Fuck it. Ain't no one else going to help me here. I'm going to take care of it my fucking self. I just love that thing. There's so much of a cowboy sensibility. So much back into the Western. It's like, okay, the gunslinger, the lawman, he's got to do it his fucking self. There's no one else who's going to stand up for it. No one's going to jump on his posse or anything like that. He's got to go out there, take care of business himself. I like that it pays off. I just like the quality of that. Even if you're kind of waiting for the thing to get its traction going, stuff like that, once it gets going, once it gets into these moments, they're really goddamn fucking phenomenal. I really like these things. So it's like, overall, the entire film is not great. Like, it's a story that you've probably seen before if you watch certain westerns. A lot of people say it's sort of a remake or re-envisioning of the film High Noon. Regardless of that, is a tried and true sort of tale that you could tell in this whole thing in a different style of environment with a different style of tone in a certain way. Just like, it just works so well. It's such a universal style of story. You could transplant it into different places and different eras, stuff like that, and still works because you've got good quality things going on with the characters, the actors, so many good things going on in this whole film. It still delivers at the end of the day. Even if it has flaws, it's kind of slow, the effects are a little bit limited here and there, it still has good things going on with it. And there's such a good thing where shortly after this thing was released, there was a sort of comic book, an adaptation put into the Heavy Metal magazine at the time. I think it was about 5 or 6 issues that they readapted the whole thing for the thing, and the artwork is fucking excellent, this whole thing. Jim Steranko, who is a very acclaimed artist, stuff like that, and they adapted, they had the likenesses right on the money. It looks great, and they adapt the story just almost exactly, but it's just another way to look at the film. If you can track down those issues, because I don't think they ever collected them in any sort of trade paperback or anything else, you'd have to find those original magazines if you can. But I've seen the art, it looks great, it's a wonderful type of thing, so it's like such good type of things overall, and it's just a really good film that gets overlooked so much. It's just like you have so much good talent. Peter Hyams, people who kind of follow him, where he's also an underrated director. Even if he doesn't get any science whatsoever done right in this whole film, like the 1/6 gravity that Jupiter has, it doesn't come into play anywhere, or like the entire thing of everyone kind of exploding outwards when they really shouldn't be doing that in decompression, stuff like that. It's almost like if you can just bypass that stuff, there's good things to get out of this. Like, again, the pacing might not be for everyone. You might get turned off very easily early on. If you want to stick it out, it's good type of stuff. And the Blu-ray has a really nice commentary from Peter Hyams that's well worth checking out. It's a good piece of work. And Peter Hyams will be interviewed for the In Search of Tomorrow documentary that we're doing a Kickstarter for right now. If you're watching this in May of 2020, then you go and hit that up and check that out. He'll be involved with it, talking about Outland and Time Cop in 2010, the year we made contact. He'll be talking about these films, absolutely, and you'll be getting a lot more information out of him. So definitely, if you're interested in Outland, you're interested in those Peter Hyams films, definitely hit the link in the description below to get involved with the entire documentary Kickstarter. It's going to be really fantastic type of stuff, guys. So I definitely implore you, definitely check it out. Put your comments below if you've explored the filmography of Peter Hyams, if you enjoyed this film, if you checked this out. Let me know what your feelings are. If you did get a little bit more out of it, or you didn't quite get clicked into it all the way for whatever reason, let me know, guys. So I think there's just a mix of different things that are very admirable about the film, but some things are a little bit of a restriction back to what could ultimately potentially be all the way forward, but it's still a good piece of work. I think it's really well done. I think there's a lot of good things to get out of it if you have the time and patience for it. So guys, thanks so very much for checking out this video. There's always the Patreon if you're able to donate to that every month. You get a little bit of something early for your donations, stuff like that, your pledges. So guys, thanks so very much. Hope you're well. Take care. Bye-bye.